Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I wanted to do a video today on Sensorimotor OCD, and yes, I also am having some cognitive dissonance doing this video because what? Because Nick has done this topic obviously very extensively, and he's done like a ton of videos on it incredibly and covered all different aspects of it. But I also want to make a video on it based off of what I also see in my one-to-one coaching calls with people with sensorimotor OCD and some of the fears that I think in general in the conversation around sensorimotor OCD on the internet, I think is not highlighted enough, right? Sensorimotor OCD is just one of those themes in any case that I think that is not covered extensively on the internet. Like if you go anywhere else, I think we have probably like the largest library of videos on sensorimotor OCD on our channel. I don't think that exists anywhere else. But and so I also wanted to like kind of like throw my hat in the ring for that as well, because I think fear of rejection in relation to sensorimotor OCD, I think is not talked about enough sometimes. And in so many of the cases with sensorimotor OCD, that is like a big fear. Fear of rejection or fear of failure. Either way, you can see both of those kind of go hand in hand, because a lot of people are super worried about how their sensation, or focusing on their sensation, whatever it is, breathing, saliva, blinking, whatever it is, like them thinking that this is going to distract me, this is going to stop me, this is going to affect my functioning, this is going to affect my peace of mind, and therefore my ability to live a good solid life, right? Many people will have fears around like what if other people are seeing me blink a certain way or breathe a certain way. What if this interferes when I'm at work, and then I'm not able to do this job, and then I'll have to lose this job. I can't reach my life goals. I want to be a present father. I want to be a present mother, and therefore it's going to affect my ability to be an effective parent, right? Or a productive, present, happy presence in my child's life. So there's so many things attached to it. There are also productivity related fears for many people with sensorimotor OCD, because in their mind they're thinking that focusing on this sensation is going to like stop me from being productive and achieving my daily goals and tasks and things like that. So in some ways I would say Nick is like that as well, because Nick is very productivity driven as a person, right? And when he was suffering with sensorimotor OCD, I mean he hasn't said this to me directly, but I imagine that probably that was a bit of a fear as well, not being able to be productive or as high functioning as he is, right? So then like those sensations make it feel like it is completely stalling your life. And I think that breaking that down is so absolutely key with sensorimotor OCD recovery, because you can then see that your compulsions then go beyond just the theme of sensorimotor OCD itself, but they're also playing out in your general life as well. So, for instance, if you are someone who has a fear of failure at work in relation to like just not being able to perform well, then it's not just sensorimotor OCD that's coming up for you in like a big way. It's probably also your other compulsive behaviors around it. Maybe you're trying to control your sleep as well, because you're like, in order for me to function very well, I need to sleep well and I need to make sure I get my hours in. And then people are also trying to alter their caffeine intake. They're also trying to really calibrate their bedtime, the way they go to sleep, the environment they go to sleep in, all those kinds of things. They come as, it comes almost like as a package deal as well. Then let me change a little bit of this angle. Yeah. Then there's a lot of like fear in like in relation to fear of exhaustion, fear of burnout, that plays a part with that as well. Especially with fear of not being able to sleep well, that correlates very often for many people with fear of exhaustion, fear of burnout. I've also covered that topic in great detail in a lot of my recent videos that I've done in the last couple of months as well. I've made charts and diagrams as well, so hope that helps out with that. So and then that stems into even further behaviors and habits that you're doing, avoidance compulsions, control related compulsions, trying to make sure everything is said right and correctly. So like you can see that it starts off with just a fear that I'm focusing too much on my, let's say, saliva, right? And I don't know if I should swallow, I don't know if I should spit, I don't know if I should avoid swallowing or hold it in or whatever it is. So it starts off with that, and then it jumps to, oh, I also won't be able to sleep well. Then it jumps to, oh, then I won't be able to perform well at work. Then I will be rejected by my employees, or if I lose my job, what will my peers think and what will my friends think, because everyone is in a good job right now. What will happen then? I won't be able to provide for my family. I won't be able to afford the living I do right now. I will not be able to fulfill my potential that I expect from myself and other people expect of me, right? So there's so many things that come with that, which is like it starts off with just one fixation, a fixation on what if I can never stop thinking about my saliva, and you can see how it expands and expands and expands, right? So as far as sensory motor OCD specifically goes, and the sensations with it, there are no exposures for it, right? Because your sensation is the exposure, you're already going through it. So there are no exposures that you have to do. However, as like with working with people, like there's so many other things that come with it, because you have to, life structure is like a big element with working with sensorimotor OCD sufferers, right? Trying to give them a good life structure, because either a lot of those people have terrible life structure, right? They're not, they're falling into these lazy, demotivational patterns, or they're going really full on in their life, like they're like go go go. So you have to balance out whatever it is with that person, because not every, and this goes for any theme, not every sufferer functions in exactly the same way. You see some people who have completely uh, like isolated themselves, don't go out, mostly stay at home, don't like physically exerting themselves. But then you see the other extreme as well, which is like people pushing themselves every single day, not being able to sit still, not being able to just even spend time with themselves, right? Not being able to have a day at home over the weekend or something like that. So you really have to balance that out. So life structure becomes a big part of it, and then your compulsions overall in life, not specifically just with sensorimotor OCD, right? So like I said, if there's sleep related stuff, if there's people pleasing that's happening, because if you have a fear of rejection or fear of failure, then a lot of people, as a compulsive like mechanism or a compulsive personality trait that they build over the years, is then like a very people pleasing kind of personality and character. They find it really hard to say no. They find it really hard to not meet people's expectations. Everything has to be like, oh, but I have to be this person that everyone expects me to be, and I expect myself to be as well, right? Even something as small as, I think, like again, Nick has given this example, Rob has given this example as well, where it's like even wearing a t-shirt or something that just feels uncomfortable, or you're constantly trying feeling the tag in the back, and it's like, oh, this is irritating and things like that. It's that inability to sit with discomfort, because any form of discomfort, whether it's the clothing you're wearing or whether it's you fixating on a certain sensation, or even at times for someone like the temperature. Like right now, I'm doing this video, by the way, and even though I have the air conditioner on, I'm absolutely still sweating because it's humid as hell over here, and like, and it's just so bad. So even with the cooling, there's still a lot of sweat happening. So I'm a little distracted by that as well while making this video, and I'm a bit conscious of not trying to not look too sweaty, right? But it just is what it is, and I kind of have to like roll with it and make this video nonetheless, right? So it because so with sensory motor, something like sensory motor OCD especially, it's like any single thing can feel like it's a big distraction from the main big thing that you're trying to do, right? Like a sensory motor OCD sufferer, if they're trying to make a video of themselves talking on camera, they might not be able to like do it or feel okay doing it if they are sweating. They might be like, I need the temperature right. I need to make sure I don't sweat. I don't need to make sure that I feel comfortable being on camera, etc., etc. Right? So anything that feels like it's becoming a hindrance between you and your functioning and your life goals, and it's going to take you towards failure, is then something that you try and control and get away from and avoid and try to just like fix right there on the spot. Um, so and I think sensory motor OCD, if I were to make like concoctions of every theme separately, I think, and fear is like a, I think, big part of, not I think, I mean, fear is a big part in every OCD sufferer's cycle, right? Because every OCD sufferer is afraid of being stuck in that state for the rest of time, right? I think with sensory motor OCD, it is the, if I were to make those concoctions, I think the concentration, I think of fear would be higher in sensory motor OCD because it's a bit exacerbated, right? Which doesn't make the theme any worse than the other. I mean, it's just like how the theme operates, right? I think every theme has its own, like everything has its own slight unique factors that make it a bit different than the other. So it's not about this is more difficult and this is less difficult. It's just that they're all difficult, but at times in their own unique ways. With contamination OCD, for sure, I think the physical limitations of what I could and couldn't do was like the biggest challenging part for me. And for me, other themes felt relatively easier to deal with, but contamination OCD felt incredibly hard because of its physical nature. So that's what I mean by that. Because I mean, people will watch this video and they'll be like, "Wait, what do you mean? Like, if airfare is more intensely motor, does that mean my theme is worse than the others?" See, I knew it. I knew this was like the worst theme ever. Take a seat. Calm down. No. Or maybe it is worse. I mean, I don't know. We have to sit with that uncertainty as well. Well, I really took everyone for a roller coaster ride, I think, over here with this little 1 minute loop. But so again, I think, I mean, there's a lot to break down also then in fear of failure as well, of like you being able to accept yourself for being someone who fails as well and maybe doesn't meet everyone's expectations of you or what they think your potential is or what you think your potential is. I think in some ways I was a victim of this fear as well because I mean, I was someone, and like sometimes when I'm also like talking about this, it feels like I'm like boasting or something like that. But I mean, I was just that classic student that who is getting good grades. I was good at even extracurricular activities. I was a student sent in competitions, uh, and yeah, I mean, I was that kid. I was that kid, right? I had good friends. I had like a good social system around me. Everything was pretty good. And so when you grow up in a kind of environment where there's a lot of like praise and validation and just like a lot of just a lot of good comments coming your way, you don't, your brain learns to be completely or grows to be completely unfamiliar with criticism or with them not being able to achieve certain things because in some ways like you feel like, oh, this is not that big of a deal for me, this is not that big of a challenge for me, I can do this, right? And then when it, and that's why like OCD suffering itself, I think for people like that can at times be like, wait, what, how can I not solve this? Because I've been able to solve everything before in my life, I've been able to get ahead and things like that. So it becomes that thing. But anyway, I think it took me a lot of years actually to become comfortable with making mistakes, failing, not being able to achieve certain things, and because I think like no one said this to me directly, but you can pick it up around, like in conversations with people around you. I think people started around me also expecting me to just do big things or brilliant things or whatever, and not being able to meet that standard felt like immense pressure as well. And that would be like, oh no, I have to, do things that people expect of me, and then it becomes like something that you also expect of yourself, right? So it goes both ways, and so that pressure is then what creates also that environment of anxiety in your mind as well, that I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to be this way, or I have to be that way. And it becomes incredibly stressful to not be able to achieve in that sense. So achievement itself can become quite addictive then, in that sense. And as like also the myth of self-esteem also talks about as well, which is just like you become so married to the idea of achievement and defining your entire self or your worth or your esteem by your list of achievements and your continuity to achieve. Because it's not then just that, oh, by 30 years old I was able to achieve, like, all these 10 things, but then it's also like, no, but I have to then continue, I have to continue the streak. So, and then again, any kind of thing that feels like it's going to stop you from doing that, the fear then just like goes up, and it's like, oh no, I have to, like, no, I can't let this stop me from going forward. So so that fear of failure was a big one for me, and also getting comfortable and accepting that I have to perhaps even shatter people's expectations of me, and I have to, by not achieving, maybe I'm going to give people some reality check or something that I'm not the person that they thought or expected me to be. I had to get comfortable with that notion, because it was that's something that was very uncomfortable for me to even think about, that I'm going to be something or someone that, and I'm going to shatter people's perception of me. And all this time they had this illusion that, oh, I had some kind of promise that I was going to fulfill, and actually it isn't that way. So that fear of disappointment as well. And I think these are like, again, I can really honestly go on for another 30 minutes on this, of breaking down self-acceptance, breaking down fear of failure and all those things, and maybe I will do another video on this as well. But I think what I want to highlight in relation to sensorimotor OCD, that on the surface of it, it seems like people fixate on specifically the sensation itself, whatever sensation it is, but they then don't see the bigger picture and the nuances and complexities that come with this theme. And like trying to fix the sensation itself is not the answer over here. The answer is looking at what are the underlying fears and beliefs that you're holding that are driving this fixation on, I need to have a handle over my sensations. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on this. Honestly, even I haven't watched every single video by Nick on Sensorimotor OCD. He probably has covered this. I'm sure he has. But I thought I would highlight this because this is like one of the biggest things that I have seen in all my sensory motor one-to-one coaching calls, and the things that, and this is the aspect that I have to spend the most time on with people to break down as well. So I hope this helped. Let me know if you have any questions or feedback. Happy to answer them, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.